So what if I told you the Toronto Raptors are in an ideal position right now? This is a team that came into the season with what I thought were going to be play-in aspirations. I thought this team was going to find themselves in the middle of the pack. But of course, injuries have decimated this team and they quickly fell in a hole. And as a result of missing guys, the Raptors, they have gotten out to a 7-21 start. They have done a lot of losing. However, if you look at this half glass full, the Raptors have put themselves in a perfect position in terms of the NBA draft lottery. The Raptors, they have been ethically tanking, and this has been still a watchable product for the most part. They've been a fun team, but they've been losing, and it puts them in a great spot to be a bottom team. And because they have gotten out to such a poor start, it gives them a cushion over some of the other teams that are going to be trying to position themselves at the bottom as we get closer to the end of the season. And the Raptors' most recent loss to the Nets, it was big. That loss created a 4.5 game cushion between them and Brooklyn at the time of this recording in the lottery race. So it might not matter now, but it will matter towards the end of the season. So I know fans, they want to win. However, the Raptors, they could be cooking a year from now if they get lucky and land a big-time player in the upcoming 2025 NBA draft. I'm going to talk about it in this one, guys. Haven't done a Raptors video in a minute. Do me a solid. Drop a like on the video and smash that subscribe button for more. So you look at where the Raptors are, fourth worst record, and they're a game and a half back in the reverse standings of the Wizards for dead last. I don't think they're going to catch the Wizards in terms of being that bad, but hopefully the Pelicans can get healthier and start winning some games, because I could see the Pelicans past the Raptors. So the Raptors, I think in a perfect world, they finish bottom 3. This is a team, they've lost 6 in a row. They're 3-7 in their last 10. And right now, they got a 45.2% chance of getting the top 4 pick via Tankathon, and an 11.5% chance at getting the number 1 pick. And you look at this team, they got Scottie back, which is great, because initially I thought that injury to him was going to be very serious. He comes back, but there were still missing pieces, right? And it feels like that's been the theme of the season. It's like they get good news and then they get bad news. Scottie comes back and then Pirtle is out. He's day-to-day with the groin injury, and RJ Barrett misses the game with an illness. And Emmanuel quickly, he's been out for a while. He did practice, according to Grange today, but there's still no definitive timeline for his return. Bruce Brown, the same with him as well. So the Raptors, they've had guys in and out of the rotation, and you know, there have been positives. The rookies have been playing well. You gotta like what you've seen from Mobo, Jamal Shed, even Jacoby Walter. The Raptors rolling out their youngest starting lineup in franchise history the other day. That was pretty cool. And you got to think those guys are going to continue to see minutes, especially towards the end of the season. Big minutes at that. And, you know, Abaji, he's been playing really, really well. He's been one of the biggest talking points with this Raptors team. I was ready to give up on him going back to Summer League, but he has turned that narrative around. Grady Dick has had an impressive sophomore season. Scottie had been playing at an elite level before he went down with his most recent injury. So the Raptors, they have been playing competitively, which is why if the lottery gods are going to award one team, it's this Raptors team. They have lost 9 games by 5 points or less. So the Raptors, they do find themselves in that bottom 5, that bottom tier. And, you know, you look at their schedule upcoming. I know you can say, well, they have Scottie back, who makes this team a much better team. And that is a fact. But you look at their schedule, guys, it's rough. They got the Rockets, Knicks, Grizzlies, Hawks, and Celtics to close out the year. Like, find another win in 2024. The Raptors, if they keep losing these games, they are going to give themselves a leg up over those other teams when it comes to the bottom of the standings. And I know there's going to be some people saying, no, like, I want to see this team fully healthy. And I think a fully healthy Raptors team can push and they can be a playing team. But, like, I'm going to say, like,
playing for what?
Raptors should go all in on trying to get the best position in the draft lottery. They've already gotten out to this bad of a start. So might as well just play that hand that you were dealt. Like, there's no point, in my opinion, at this juncture of the season to try to go for it, to try to be a play-in team, to go, one and done when you could have potentially had a top 5 pick. And the biggest question is going to be, okay, what is this Raptors team going to do around the trade deadline? Are they going to try to offload some players, get assets, or trade away a guy that makes them worse? And the biggest name is Jakob Poeltl. However, according to Grange, Poeltl isn't likely to be dealt this season, as he basically went on to say that the sources that he's talked to predicts that he's more likely to be a part of the Raptors bounce back next season rather than dangled at the trade deadline. And look, I was initially on team trade Poeltl, but I understand how difficult it is to trade players under the new CBA at that number. You know, if the Raptors are going to just trade Poeltl for the sake of being bad, that's not a good idea. Like, I was always under the impression if you trade Poeltl, it's got to be a home run haul. But I'm okay if the Raptors can somehow remain bad and keep Poeltl for next season, because yeah, it could be a big bounce back season for this team if they add a top 5 pick and they keep Poeltl. Because if you do trade Poeltl, the other side of it is you're going to probably spend a whole ton of time trying to find his replacement. So it doesn't seem like Poeltl's on his way out. The other big one is Bruce Brown, and Bobby Marks of ESPN was on the Raptors show with Blake Murphy and Matt Bonner. Basically, he said at this point, like, he thinks that Chris Boucher's contract is that sweet spot, and that Chris Boucher has a bit more value than Bruce Brown right now. And again, under the new CBA, it's harder to make deals involving these larger contracts. And Bruce Brown's on a $23 million expiring, but the dude hasn't played. So if you're another team, like, are you really going to fork away assets when you don't know what you're going to get for Brown? So hopefully Brown can come back soon. I thought he was going to be back already, but Brown might be a little tricky. You know, the Lakers have been linked to him. Olynyk, I don't think they're going to trade. Like, that's not even a topic of discussion. I think the likeliest Raptor to be traded is Boucher, because he is in that sweet spot, which is what Bobby Marks called it. $10.8 million expiring deal. Like, that's feasible, right? That other teams can take that on. And I think Boucher can help a lot of contending teams from off the bench. So we'll see what happens. But if I have to make a prediction, I'll say Boucher's a goner. I do think the Raptors trade him. And then the big one's Brown. I think the Raptors want to trade him, but it's going to be difficult to trade him. And we'll see if the Raptors are willing to kind of go down on their initial offer. Remember, they wanted a first-round pick for Brown, but you're not getting that, I don't think, at this point. I think you're going to have to go for seconds and some, filler players if teams are even willing to offer that. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And then the biggest thing about this team is, once they are healthy, will they be able to stay down? And that's the biggest question right now, because their back end of the schedule actually lightens up. But will the Raptors at that point be so far down where they start, sitting guys and playing the rookies a whole ton, and they're not going to purposely, sit out a Scotty Barnes for an extended period of time, but you kind of like manipulate it where you're not putting your best foot forward? And I think that's what they're going to have to do, because in the middle of this thing, once we get to February, I think the Raptors are going to have a depleted record, and you got to fully go for the draft at that point, regardless of what you do or not at the deadline. And you look at this upcoming draft, man, it's generational. If the Raptors get a top 5 pick, they got to feel good about themselves. I know I have Cooper Flagg in the thumbnail of this video. He would be the prize. He would be the gold standard. But even if the Raptors don't get that number 1 pick, they can still land a generational talent. Dylan Harper, I like him a lot. Point guard / shooting guard. And Ace Bailey, he's a small forward. I like Yakachonis. That's a guy who Bleacher Report linked to the Raptors in the latest mock draft. He's a solid point guard. You got VJ Edgecombe, another good shooting guard. I like Demon too. I'm not even going to get into it in this video of like what happens with the Raptors, right? If they do draft a point guard or get an Ace Bailey, like who all of a sudden comes from off the bench next season? Is it going to be RJ? Is it going to be Quickly? Is it going to be Grady Dick? Like, that's a good problem to have. All I know is if you get one of these top 5 talents, you're cooking next season, because all of a sudden you're looking at a really good top 8 for this team. If they can hit another home run and one of these kids that they draft pans out to being a big time star, like, they are in a really good spot. We'll see if the Raptors can get lucky, but in order for them to get lucky, they got to do the right thing beforehand. They got to put themselves in the best position, and right now they have done that. Like, the Raptors are in the bottom of the standings. They got the 4th worst record. They're projected to have the number 4 pick if the season ended today, and April's gonna get here in no time, guys. So I'm on Team Tank. Fire it up. The Raptors gotta play the long game. It's in their best interest. It's gonna suck one more season, but I promise you, if the Raptors get one of these studs in this upcoming draft, they're gonna be in a very good position. So we'll see what happens. Again, the biggest question, will this Raptors team fully healthy be able to stay down? And how are they going to look, let's just say, after February? But this team should definitely have draft on their mind. Masai referred to it as a rebuild. Darko said it's the first year of the rebuild. So it's going to suck to continue to lose these games, but it will pay off if the Raptors play their cards right. Let me know your thoughts. Are you fully on Team Tank? Let me know, which prospect do you want to see the Raptors draft and get lucky with at this upcoming 2025 NBA draft? And yeah, let me know your overall thoughts when it comes to this team. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Lucas signing off. Drop a like and subscribe before you get out of here. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I will catch you all again in the next one.